Time to go on the mark with Father Mark Davis. Father Mark, I want to just take a minute. But, we've got new listeners tuning in all the time. Why on the mark with Father Mark Davis?
Well, one of my favorite... good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, David, Ron, and Pat. It's so good to be with you on this beautiful sunny day. So one of my favorite definitions of my entire life is the definition of sin actually comes from archery, and it means to miss the mark, to miss the bullseye. And it's just what has always been one of my favorite quotes. And when I left St. Aloysius in Bowling Green after 12 years as pastor, there's a man named Tim Tagey, who is this brilliant singer-songwriter who's actually the president, the CEO, or I don't know what you call the head of the site, of the site center, here in Toledo. Just a wonderful man. He wrote a song, and he talked about that they listened to my sermons, and I think the first verse was, "You came all dressed in black. You came into town, part priest, part magician, part clown. You did your wonders with the little bread and wine, and then you went and turned a queen into a nine. And now you're going on your way. And there's something we just have to say. We're going to sin when you're gone. We're going to sin all day long. We're going to sin from sunrise to dark. You spoke and we heard. We listened to every word. You said the definition of sin was to miss the mark." And we'll miss you, Father Mark.
Oh, there you go.
So that's probably way more than you wanted to know.
No, that's good. Missing the mark. I love it.
About how we're on the mark, because it comes from, I just love that definition, that God puts us this path, right, for us to be apprentices of Jesus. Disciples is to be with him, to be like him, and to do what he did, and when we do something or think something that doesn't align us to the living God, it's sin, it misses the mark.
Amen.
So there was a bus driver who often drove in New York City in the fashion district, and there were always a lot of beautiful models to be, and everyone on the bus every day. And one day there were two women that were fighting over the last seat on the bus. It wasn't a large bus, more like a shuttle bus, and they were fighting, and they just couldn't be, they wouldn't stop fighting. And he pulled over, and he pulled out what looked to be a manual, and he said, "Okay, attention," he gets on the microphone, "Okay, attention everyone, attention everyone. There seems to be a conflict, and, and code 93.2 says that when two people are fighting for the last seat on the bus, the policy is the seat has to go to the one who's less attractive." And both women stood for the rest of the trip.
Oh, my.
There you go. That's wisdom.
So this reminds me, the sense of this bus driver being smart, being clever, and trying to be, and desperate, trying to do anything that he can to be able to solve the situation, and using our ingenuity, reminds me of yesterday's gospel when the steward gets kind of fired because he was squandering, his master's money and property. It doesn't say when he starts being able to call in all the debtors and giving them a less amount. There's different scholars say that most of them say that what he was giving away was a lot of his own commission. It's not clear whether he is cheating, his boss on the way out as well. But what's clear in what Jesus is saying is that when people are desperate, in this world, when it comes to money, when it comes to paying our bills, when it comes to survival, people often are desperate and will do everything they can. Often very creatively, to be able to survive. And he is suggesting to us that we should think about our spiritual life and about being able to radiate the presence of God, in that way. And that reminds me of last Wednesday's reflection from Real Life, Chris Stefanik's kind of daily, email that he sends out. And he actually, Chris Stefanik, quoted Cardinal Dolan from his book. Now, Cardinal Dolan, of course, is the cardinal in New York City, and he has a book called Priest for the Third Millennium. And so Cardinal Dolan has this, don't you if you've heard this amazing story, that happened in 1989, right at the beginning of the AIDS crisis. And one thing that Cardinal Dolan said, he was so proud that when all that happened, that in all that danger, some of the first people to step in were Catholics. And Mother Teresa started the first AIDS hospice in New York City. And on Good Friday, he visited. I think he was still a priest then. And he noticed one emaciated man in the corner who seemed agitated and kept beckoning to me to come to him. As I began to turn to approach his bed, the sister halted me, warning that this man was unusually violent, hateful to all, and had actually attempted to bite these sisters a number of times. And of course, that would have been instant death for anyone who was bitten by him. But he kept on calling to Cardinal Dolan. He said he went over. What was I to do? What would any priest do? Slowly, I approached and extended the crucifix, and he kissed it and lay down. The next day, he came back, and then he had bodyguard sisters, and he says, I want to be baptized. I know nothing about Christianity or the church, and I hate religion all my life, but I've been here 3 months, and these sisters are always happy. When I curse them, they look at me with compassion.
Wow, that's an awesome reflection. We'll be right back.